Cox here. Happy holidays. I wanted to do a special Kiss guitar lesson today, all the way back from the debut album. We're going to do Let Me Know. And the reason why I wanted to do this is kind of the first time that, as we know the story goes, is that Paul played a song for Gene. Gene really liked it, and that song was Let Me Know. And then, really honestly, that was the birth of Kiss right there in that room. And so I thought it was kind of important that we cover that song. So the tuning for this is going to be E flat, as with most Kiss songs, but you're going to have to do a little bit of fine tuning because it's not exact if you want to play along with the record. So let's go ahead and get started with Let Me Know. Okay, so that's the very introduction riff, so we'll go over all the chords and riffs there. So this is going to start on an A5, so that's open A, 2nd fret of the D. It's where you have your first finger, and you're doing this riff. So that's kind of, kind of a blues shuffle, but it's just, I'll play it slowly. So just a down, you're going back and forth from playing the open A in the 4th fret of the D. So then we're going to shift all the way down here to the E5. That's going to be 7th fret of the A, 9th fret of the D, and do a playing that, we're coming down here and grabbing the 11th fret of the D string and playing the A and the D together. So it's kind of the same pattern as up at the 2nd fret. So I should say when you get to this E, you're doing such a quick down up strum, down up strum, down up down. So it's shift to the D5. That's going to be 5th fret of the A, 7th fret of the D string, and play the same thing. And then you're going to be going back and forth from the 9th fret of the D string to the 5th fret of the A. So that's back to the E. Then you play this. So that's going to be 2 down strums on the A5 up here, what we played earlier. So you do a stop that and do it's a little chromatic climb from the 4th fret of the A, the 5th fret of the A, 6th fret of the A, and then it ends on the 7th fret of the A. So of the verse, so this is the first pass through. Second pass through. So let's go over to that part. So the very first part of the verse is where Gene is singing. So Paul and Gene do kind of I used to love that they did this a lot back in the early days, where Gene would sing a line and Paul would. And I just thought that their voices blended really well together. So the very first pass through is going to be with Gene, and we're going to start here on the 7th fret of the D string, 9th fret of the G string, and then we're pivoting back and forth off of the 11th fret of the G. So it's that same kind of blues shuffle that we did earlier. So it's so you can kind of see I'm just hitting this chord, lifting my pinky up, putting it down, so it's an alternating kind of thing. So repeat that same thing again. Now that part, we go to the D5, which is the 5th fret of the A, 7th fret of the D, and do a down, down, and then this little chromatic walk from 5th to 6th to 7th. These are all power chords. Then we play that little shuffle again there at the E5s. Then we come back to what we learned kind of earlier. We get back to that A5, play that little chromatic riff. Now it changes a little bit on this part. Same shuffle. Except it stops there, and then we do a. So that's going to be the A5 up here, and you're just shifting back from the 2nd fret of the D to the 4th fret of the D, and of course playing that open A. And then this is where Paul comes in on the second part and does his line. The second part of the verse is when Paul starts singing, and it changes just a little bit. So I'll play it through first one time. So it's. Let's go over that. So the very first thing you're going to do is bar your first finger over the 9th fret of the D, G, and B string. Now it's kind of like the other riff where we're taking fingers, we're kind of alternating between placing our fingers down, kind of like a shuffle type rhythm. So we're doing, play those 3 strings together, then we're going to put down on the 10th fret of the B and 11th fret of the G, and just do that. So you're alternating between playing this, so now if you keep that same shape and bring it all the way down here to the 14th fret, you're doing the same thing. Goes back to the 9th, same thing. Back to the 14th fret. But it changes right there, so we do it. And you're going to hit that open A. Do that little walk down, little chromatic walk down. That's going to be, you're playing the D and G strings. You're just going to bar your first finger across those 2 strings, and it's going to be the 4th fret. You stop the strings, go to the 5th, go to the 6th, and then we stop on the 7th. And you go back to that same riff. So I'll do that again. Back to the 14. Back to the 9. And then you just ride that A5 to the guitar solo start. So it's just down, muted downstrokes. Guitar solo is this. So this is going to be on the G and B string, and there's going to be some slides in there, and we're letting these strings ring open. So go ahead and position your fingers here on the 7th fret of the G and B, but you're not actually going to fret here on the B string yet. You're going to do your slide from the G string, and then once you slide there, then you can put your ring finger down and fret. So it's so it doesn't have to be a real big lift up, just to take a little pressure off of that ring finger. So play, and that's going to be from the 7 to the 9, back to the 7 and the 9. So let me play this. So up here in the A minor pentatonic, when we do this, so that's going to be a partial bend here on the 7th fret of the G. And then you're going to come here to the 5th fret of the B and play. And then pull off from the 8 back to the 5. And then you're going to do a full bend here on the 8th fret of the B. You're going to go back up again. And that's going to be 5th fret of the G. Pull that down just a little bit. And then come and finish that lick on the 7th fret of the D string. So then it goes again, repeats that same intro solo. So we go. Play the same lick again, but there's a little change here. So in the Firehouse lesson, you know, we talked about how to do those. You know, Ace used that a lot in his solo playing. So it's where you're basically, it's a very staccato type way of playing, but you're picking and then you're muting the string back really quick with the pick. So we do the same lick we just learned. So we do it like we learned earlier. You do the bend. So I'll kind of turn to the sides here. You can see, so and we do the same thing. We do that little bend down on the 5th fret of the G, and it again resolves there on the 7th fret of the D. So let's play what we have so far. Then we're going to go all the way down here to the 12th fret and do this. That very common blues lick that Ace plays in so many different various ways, and it's just amazing how he was able to take that one lick and do so much with it. But you're doing a partial bend here on the 12th fret of the G. You're going to anchor your first finger here on the 10th fret of the B and the high E, and you're going to play these the G and B together. So you get that kind of chordal double stop. So we do 2 times. And then we do this. Now I do a hybrid picking. So hybrid picking means you're using your pick and one of your fingers, your open fingers here. Mine, I'm using the middle finger, so I'm doing. So the shape is this. That's going to be 14 of the G and high E, 13 of the G and high E, and then 12 and 12 of the G and high E. And then it stops there on the 10th fret. So we get together. Now you could do if you wanted to do the, you know, just the pick going. It just seems more natural for me to go. Just works better for me. So, so on that third pass through, you're going to leave out this part and just do a. So I should say when you do that bend, then you follow that with the D and high E. And then you do the little country lick. And you kind of slide into that. So that slide is from 12 to 14 on the G. Then we come here. So we're going to slide into the 7th fret of the A and alternate back and forth from the 7th fret of the D to the A. So all on the 7th fret. All that's going to be again based around that A minor pentatonic, and it's so we do a we're going to bar, just kind of basically bar that first finger across the G, B, and high E, and I think it'll be easier for you to play this lick. Because you're kind of having to do a lot of pull off here on the pinky finger and ring finger. So we go, so that's going to be high E of the 5th fret. Pull off's going to be from 8 to 5 on the G. And then you come and do a pull off again on the 7 to 5. So we have, and then we go, and that's going to be 7, 5, 7. And then you bar this part because you're going to do it. So you bar that, flatten that ring finger out over the 7th fret of the D and G. Because you're coming back from G7, D7, and then resolving that lick on the 5th fret of the A. One more time slowly. And then we go so we play that same lick we learned earlier, except we're just going to do the same thing but starting on the 14th fret. So everything's the same as up here, we're just moving it down a whole step, and we do the same thing, we're barring the finger across the 12th fret of the B and the E. And then again we're doing 16 of the G and high E, 15, and then 14, and then it ends here on the 12th fret. So and then we end up this last lick, and that's just going to be a hammer on from 5 to 6 on the G, and that's going to be 2 plucks on the 5th fret of the B, and then when you finish that on the G, excuse me, the 7th fret of the D. So we do hammer on, and then slides out. And that is all of the guitar solo. So after the guitar solo we have the final verse, which is not going to change than what we learned earlier, except one little thing. So we do that, and then Gene's just singing this verse. So now when we shift to do that little chromatic rundown here that starts at the D5, we just do an extra strum in there. So, and then that's when they do the harmony part together with the main chorus of the song, and then we go into this. And of course, you know, on the live one, that's where Ace would start his guitar solo, but we're going to learn that next, and that's going to basically be the end of the song because you just play that riff out. Now, there is an ending guitar solo. I'm not going to show it on this lesson. If it's something that you guys really, really would love to have those last little kind of buried lead lines, you know, I definitely can do a lesson for it, so just let me know, but no pun intended. But I always kind of use that for, this is just what I do when there's those outro guitar solos. I kind of always use that as my opportunity to kind of do my own thing, kind of improv over that. So that might be an idea as well. So let's go over that last little riff. So it's going to be... that's just going to repeat over and over. So it starts with an open A, and you're going to fret here on the 7th fret of the D. And it's just... So first we're just doing a strum both of those together. And I should say you're letting that ring, you're just doing... If it sounds kind of like those are the same notes, it's because they are. It's 2 A notes right there. So now I'm doing a, a alternate picking on this. Now last time before you get to the 5th fret of the D string, you do a... And then you could do a... So that's going to be hammer and pull off from 5 to 7, then do a chromatic. I always mess this up. So it's going to be hammer on pull off from, and then so that's going to be 7, 6, 5 on the A, and then there's another hammer on pull off from 3 to 5 to the 5th fret of the E, back to the 3rd fret of the A, and then we do a... And that's just going to be a G5 power chord. That's going to be 3rd fret of the low E, 5th fret of the A string. So that's 1, 2, 3, and then a quick strum and slide back to the A5 before you're going to start that lick over. So slowly. A little faster. That's probably the trickiest part of that, is that little strum, that, because you're kind of having to do a down, 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 and then an upstroke on the E before you hit the A. Tricky little lick, it really is. Never did quite play it the way I hear it in my head. So that is all of Let Me Know. I hope you guys enjoy it, and I'd love to hopefully run into some of you guys at the KISS show in New York. So if you're headed that way, have a safe trip, and if I probably will, I'm going to try to get another lesson before the Christmas holiday, so we'll see you guys again soon. And thanks so much for all the support and kindness and checking out my lessons and sharing them and all the things you guys do to help me out. So thank you guys. We'll see you next time.